Parents tell me all the time that their teenagers are disrespectful of them, sometimes of other people, and they're frustrated with that. And they ask me, why is it that my teen is disrespectful, or how can I get my teen to be more respectful? Well, it's interesting because I had this experience with my own kids when they were, I think about 16 and 14. In fact, I remember standing in my driveway and I was looking at my son's car, and I was thinking their behavior had been somewhat disrespectful, both of them, perhaps at that point, particularly him. He's a good kid, but it was normal kind of adolescent disrespectful behavior. And I was thinking to myself, I know, I'll just take his car away for a week or two. This is contingent parenting. So some of this I learned from my own experience of raising kids. And then I had a sort of epiphany as I stood in my driveway. I could show you the spot in my driveway where I stood when I had this idea. I think it's a paraphrase of a quote from Gandhi that, be the change you wish to see. So I became immediately aware of the fact that if I want my kids to be more respectful of me, then maybe I ought to be more respectful of them. Maybe I ought to be that change that I wish they would become. Of course, the next thing I think in my arrogance and egotistical nature, I suppose, is I am respectful of them. And then again, another epiphany. Well, do you always make eye contact with them when they talk to you? Or do you continue to read the newspaper or watch the TV show that you're watching and kind of answer them off without paying much attention to them, without really focusing on that? That's disrespectful behavior on my part. Or when my son is expecting a phone call and I'm expecting one, do I really consider that maybe his phone call is more important than mine? I mean, maybe the call from his buddy who wants him to do something really in his world is more important than the call that I'm going to get from somebody it's really not that critical. That would be respectful if I could consider his perspective and consider the relative importance in his life and in my life. So I determined at that point, after these epiphanies in my driveway, that I was going to be more respectful of my kids and see what happened. And I worked hard at it. This was this process that I talk about in terms of trying to grow yourself. You've got to be ahead of your kids in this process. And I realized that if I want my kids to be more respectful, then I needed to be more respectful. And I did it diligently for at least 6 months. I tried to keep doing it, and even at this point in my life, but at least 6 months before I really noticed a change in my kids. Now, a lot of parents aren't willing to be patient. They want respect and they want it now, but what they really get is not respect, they get fear. Or sometimes they get duplicity because their kid gives them what they want to their face, but behind their back they have no more respect for them. But I wanted something real, and something real takes time. 6 months later, I can attest to the fact that my kids were much more respectful in the ways I had hoped that they would be respectful, and I had never mentioned to them that I expected them to be more respectful. I think they probably had sensed that I was more respectful of them, and as a consequence, had reflected that to me.